Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever watched an anime and just been, like, totally captivated by a place you see on screen?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just know it has to be real somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're probably onto something, because fans actually traveling to the real spots from their favorite shows, that's anime pilgrimage.
It really is.
And it's become this, huge cultural thing. A
Yeah.
mix of travel and just pure fandom.
It's definitely more than just ticking off a tourist spot. It's about stepping into that world you love,
Right.
like connecting with the story in a tangible way.
Yeah.
It's where fiction meets reality. And without that reality, honestly, the fiction loses something, a certain weight.
Totally get that. And today, we're looking at this really cool source, the Anime Pilgrimage Guide to Sendai, and diving deep into one specific city that's got this special reputation. Sendai, also known as the City of Trees.
Right.
And apparently, according to this guide, it's just packed, like unusually packed, with these anime sacred sites.
Yeah, what jumps out from the guide is that Sendai isn't just some random background. It's specific character, that mix of city life, nature, its particular size seems to actively draw creators in. It's almost like it's tailor-made for certain kinds of stories.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then. Why Sendai? What's the secret sauce? What makes it so perfect for anime? And what kinds of stories does it help tell? Plus, obviously, which spots are the absolute must-sees for fans heading there?
Mm-hmm.
Think of this as your shortcut, your inside look into Sendai's connection with the anime world, all based on what this guide tells us.
And the guide gives us a solid start right away, listing the anime titles connected to Sendai. What's interesting is just how varied that list is. It really shows the city's range, It works for so many different genres.
Oh, the list is so cool, and some seriously huge names are on it, judging by the box office numbers in the guide. Like, wow, the first slam dunk.
Got a massive hit.
Yeah, estimated over 16 billion yen. And the guide points to real places like Kamearina Sendai and Tomoyazawa Junior High.
Oh.
Wild.
Yes, those specific spots are noted. And then there's Porella Magi, Madoka Magica, the movie version. That one used Kodonuma Leisureland and the Chojahara Ferris wheel. Pulled in over 4 billion yen itself.
Wait, Madoka Magica used an abandoned amusement park? Kodonuma Leisureland? Okay, this is just perfect. So eerie and atmospheric.
It certainly adds to the mood.
And of course, Haikyuu has to be on there. Over 1.4 billion yen. The guide mentions Kamearina again, Sendai Station, the city museum, which just makes total sense for a sports anime about a team from that area, right?
It does. And then for stories focused more on, say, music and growing up, like Bluey Giant.
Oh, I loved Blue Giant.
Right. Estimated 1.3 billion yen. The guide connects it to spots like the Hirose River, Nishi Park, and Josenji-dori. You can really see how those places fit the jazz vibe.
The Zenji-dori, that name keeps popping up. Sounds like a really key spot for the city's anime identity.
It seems to be. The guide also lists Kannagi, a bit older, maybe 600 million yen box office. It used Hanabushi Shrine and the Rikuzen Takasago area. And then there's a really unique one, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 4.
JoJo.
Yeah, so, battle and suspense. It used Josenji-dori again, plus a shoe shop called Mukadea and the Koyo Grand Hotel as models for its fictional town, Morio. It really shows how even fantastical worlds can be grounded in real places.
Hold on, JoJo used a real shoe shop. Mukadea. Okay, now I'm super intrigued. The guide mentions other titles too, right? Like Yuzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out, Bakuten, Wake Up Girls, Saikano. It sounds like everything from comedies to gymnastics, idols to sci-fi. It really paints a picture of just how diverse the settings around Sendai must be.
And that diversity in the shows reflects the city's versatility. The guide breaks it down nicely. You've got credible spots for sports anime like Slam Dunny and Haikyuu.
Like the gyms and stuff.
Urban streets and parks perfect for music and coming-of-age stories like Bluey Giant and Wake Up Girls.
Yeah.
And then these unique, sometimes kind of surreal or traditional spots that fit fantasy and myth series, like Madoka Magica, JoJo, and Kannagi.
It's like the city itself can play different roles depending on the story.
Okay, enough listing. Let's get into the juicy details. What makes these specific places so special when you actually visit? This is where the guide really brings the pilgrimage idea to life, yeah.
Exactly. Let's take Slam Diuank and Kamearina Sendai. The guide makes a point that the arena's actual structure is a perfect mirror of the venue in those iconic match scenes.
Oh, wow.
That level of fidelity means fans can literally feel like they're standing right where the action happened. It's not just similar to, it is the place.
You can practically hear the squeak of sneakers and the crowd roaring. Okay, what about Haikyuu? near Sendai Station. The guide says it's more than just the building itself.
Right. It notes how the city has really embraced it. There are collaboration displays, special exhibitions sometimes at the station or the museum nearby, and even a jump shop right there in Sendai.
Chum shop for exclusive merch, I bet.
Presumably. It turns the whole station area into this, like, central hub for Haikyuu fans.
That's so smart. Integrating the fandom right into the location. It deepens the whole experience significantly. Then, moving to Bluey Giant, the Heroes River, Jizenji-dori, Nishi Park. The guide emphasizes how these real spots directly match the scenes where Dai is playing his sax. It blends the city's actual atmosphere, especially those leafy, jazzy streets, with the anime's mood.
Jozenji-dori again. It must have such a vibe, especially thinking about music. And, okay, back to JoJo Part 4. It's blowing my mind that Jozenji-dori and Mukadeya, the shoe shop, were the actual models for Moriotown.
It's quite something.
And get this detail from the guide. Fans apparently go into Mukadeya, the real shop, and ask for a receipt just because it was sort of in JoJo.
And that seemingly small act, it's actually quite profound. It shows how fiction gives reality new layers of meaning.
Totally.
Requesting a receipt from a regular shoe shop becomes this little ritual, doesn't it? A physical link back to the fictional world. It's a unique souvenir created purely by fandom. Without that story, it's just paper. With it.
It's a treasure. Turning the ordinary into something sacred almost.
I love that. And Kanagi, too. The guide mentioned Hanabushi Shrine. How closely does that match the anime?
The guide notes the neighborhood was based on detailed location scouting and that it closely matches the anime scenes. It's another example of that dedication to realism.
Nice. And Madoka Magica, that abandoned park, Pigeonum Leisureland. The guide says visiting feels like stepping right into the anime's surreal, kind of haunting world.
Yes. Choosing a location like that with its inherent atmosphere for a key scene, it gives the anime such a powerful, unique feeling, but one that's grounded in a real place you can actually go and experience.
It shows how much thought goes into finding the right place, not just any place.
Exactly. Location scouting isn't just logistics. It's part of the storytelling. It needs to amplify the narrative's tone.
Okay, so we've seen the sheer number of sites and how specific spots are used incredibly well. But the big question the guide tackles is, why Sendai? What is it about this city that makes it such a hot spot for anime? What's the magic ingredient? Well, the guide points to several key things. First, it highlights Sendai's balanced urban and natural scenery.
Okay, balanced. Meaning?
Meaning it has both, the city stuff, skyscrapers, busy streets, but also rivers, lots of trees, parks, natural spaces right there or very close by.
Right, so it's not just a concrete jungle or pure countryside. It's got that mix. How does that help creators, according to the guide?
Well, that mix gives them incredible visual variety within one area. You can have relatable everyday scenes set in the city, then moments of quiet by a river, or maybe something dramatic against a greener backdrop. It offers a lot of flexibility for storytelling without needing to constantly change locations drastically.
Okay, that makes sense. Having all those different visual options close at hand must be super useful. What else?
The guide talks about Sendai having a perfect scale. It uses the phrase, not too big, not too rural.
Not too big, not too rural.
Why
is that specific size so good for anime?
Think about the kinds of stories often told. That scale works really well for stories about personal journeys, character growth, or communities. A giant metropolis can feel anonymous, right? While a tiny village might feel too limiting. Sendai's size feels manageable, believable for slice of life, coming of age, even fantasy where the characters still feel part of a tangible community.
Gotcha. So it feels like a real place where characters can have meaningful experiences without getting totally lost or being completely isolated. That's actually a really smart point.
It helps ground the characters and their world, makes it feel accessible to the audience.
And we already kind of touched on the genre flexibility, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because of all those different settings, the jazz streets, the shrines, the gyms, the parks.
Precisely. A city that can convincingly portray settings for sports, music, fantasy, slice of life. That's incredibly valuable for production teams. Saves time, adds authenticity.
And lastly, the guide mentioned something about it being easy to work with.
Yes, a production-friendly environment. Things like relatively easy location scouting and finding scenery that looks authentic on its own but is also adaptable for animation. Practical stuff matters.
Right. You need the artist to be able to actually draw it.
Authenticity is vital for the pilgrimage aspect later, but practicality during production, ease of access, suitability for the medium is why creators might choose it initially.
Okay, so it's this cool blend of what the city is naturally and also how easy it is for creators to use it. But it's not just sitting there waiting, is it? The guide suggests the city itself and local groups are really active in this whole thing.
Oh, very much so. The guide is clear that the city actively engages with this anime connection. It gives examples of specific events and exhibits,
Like what?
like dedicated haiku events happening right at Sendai Station, or weaving Bluey Giant themes into the city's existing Jozenji Street Jazz Festival.
Whoa, linking Bluey Giant to a real jazz festival? That is genius. That makes the pilgrimage feel like part of the city's living culture, not just looking at buildings.
It integrates it seamlessly. And then there are the limited goods. Collaborations, like the guide mentioning Hayu,
Hakanutsuki.
Kagenatsuki, the famous Sendai suite.
Exactly. Creating exclusive souvenirs like that. Fans absolutely love unique merch tied directly to the location and the anime.
Oh yeah, gotta get the limited edition stuff. It's more than just a trinket then, right?
It becomes a tangible piece of that crossover between the real place and the fictional story.
Yeah.
Highly sought after.
And they're using tech, too. The guide mentions digital pilgrimages, AR apps, and stamp rallies. Sounds fun.
Yes, those digital tools add another layer. They enhance the physical visit with interactive elements, info, maybe some gamification. It definitely appeals to younger, tech-savvy fans.
Super smart. Plus, the guide brings up fan-led promotion. People using hashtags like hashtag Sendai Pilgrimage, sharing their own trip photos online. They basically become unofficial tour guides. And that organic, fan-driven promotion is incredibly powerful. It feels authentic because it is authentic. It reaches people within the fandom in a way official ads sometimes can't. It creates this ongoing buzz.
So putting it all together, what the guide really shows us is that Sendai isn't just a pretty background picture that anime creators borrow. It's a city that actively works to turn those anime settings into real, living experiences for everyone who visits.
Indeed. The guide emphasizes the city's conscious efforts, making areas more walkable, encouraging interaction between visitors and locals, even bringing anime into education and local creative projects. They seem to be deliberately thinking about what pilgrimage tourism can mean and how to enhance it.
The guide calls Sendai a city of encounters and stories. That sounds so inviting, like you don't just trace the anime's path, you discover the city's own character too.
Precisely. The idea is that you don't just see the locations, you taste the local food, you see the city change with the seasons. The guide mentions cherry blossoms, snow at Aoba Castle,
Oh, beautiful.
and you maybe even connect with local people. It's about finding your own story within the city, sparked by the anime connection.
That paints such a lovely picture. It really frames Sendai as this welcoming place for visitors from anywhere, letting them connect with Japan in a really personal way, all through the lens of anime they love.
The guide makes a strong case that Sendai's prominence isn't accidental. It's this dynamic interplay between the city's natural gifts, the vision of creators, and very proactive local involvement.
So the big takeaway from digging into this guide is that Sendai's amazing reputation as an anime pilgrimage destination comes from this really special mix. Its unique blend of city and nature, its perfect size for relatable stories, its ability to fit almost any genre, and the city's own enthusiasm for working with anime and welcoming fans. It's genuinely a place where fictional worlds feel like they come alive, and you can have your own adventure there.
Which leads us to a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. How does immersing ourselves in fictional worlds, like the ones depicted in anime, actually change the way we see and interact with real places? And what qualities does a city need to have, or perhaps cultivate, to make that leap from just being a setting to becoming a character in its own right within the story?